and the story ends with a nice memory of them. Yeah, so much for that. Hello, silly people on the internet. Today I'm gonna be explaining the second Five Nights at Freddy's novel called The Twisted Ones. So let's get into it. Also, sorry, my voice sounds weird, I'm still kinda sick. So, Charlie is now living with her Aunt Jen. And when she turned 18, she kept having weird dreams about Sammy, where she's looking for him until she hits a wall of cold metal. But eventually she wants to go back to Hurricane to pursue a college there. And Aunt Jen doesn't really like that idea, so they get in a fight and Charlie storms off. When Charlie arrives there, she manages to get into college last minute with the help of Jessica, and now they're living together. Also, she's pursuing robotics, so that's probably important. But now let's get to the actual start of the story. Charlie is sitting in a robotics class while the teacher yaps about something completely unrelated that totally doesn't explain the whole plot of the book. She then plans to go see John because they haven't seen each other in a while, but before that we're shown Charlie's project, which is two robot heads talking to each other. The pinnacle of human creation right here. Either way, she meets John, they talk to each other a bit, she tells him about the weird dreams she's been having, and at one point tries to storm off, but John asks her out on a date! That was totally not awkward. Later on, as she's going to her college, Clay stops her. Yeah, you remember Clay? Carlton's dad? It's so good to see him again. I'm sure this is a happy reunion and won't ask anything weird out of Charlie. Never mind, she wants to take her to see a dead body. What is wrong with these people? Charlie gets there and notices that the body has spring lock marks on it, but it's not William's body. So even after you kill that guy, I guess he always comes back. Clay also tells Charlie that they've never been able to find William's body. And there was also fake blood on the spot where he died. Awesome sauce! Charlie then goes on the date with John and they watch a zombie movie together. She then tells him about the whole thing with Clay and the body and how she never wants to go back to Freddy's again. Huh? What? Oh. Never mind, she lies to John that Clay has it under control, but asks Jessica to come with her to Freddy's. Inside Freddy's, they find the yellow rabbit suit together with William inside of it, and surprisingly, William's body doesn't seem to have rotted, even though it's been a whole year since he got springlocked. Just thought I should mention that, it might be important. Either way, they leave and sometime later, Charlie decides to go back to her father's house. But on the way, she sees some vultures circling an area, and as she gets there, she sees another springlock victim, only this one looks oddly familiar to her. She then calls Clay and he tells her that there's also been another victim this morning. Charlie then insists on checking it out and Clay tells her she has 20 minutes before he phones it in. She gets to the victim's house but she finds nothing interesting inside the house. But she does manage to find 3 weirdly shaped holes in the backyard. She then drives away before the cops come, but she realizes that she's 2 hours late to her second date with John. As she gets to the date, she doesn't actually do any date stuff, she just goes inside the bathroom and calls Clay asking if there were also similar holes to the other victims. And Clay says there were, but Charlie has an episode and makes a scene, so she and John leave the restaurant. She then takes John and goes to her dad's house where they find a hidden room. What could go wrong here? Inside the room there are more holes similar to the previous victims, and in one of the holes there was an animatronic that looked odd. But she doesn't get to examine it for too long because it literally transforms into a more creepy looking animatronic and tries to drag her inside. But John yanks its head and saves her. I guess we got animatronics with morphing abilities now. Oh, never mind, it was actually a weird disc inside the animatronic's chest that created the illusion of it being creepy. Charlie then says that she's seen a similar disc in her old dad's stuff, and back at the dorm she pulls out a box and guess what? They find the replica. And who would have known it has the words Afton Robotics on it? Charlie then takes out the map and marks the location of the killings, and afterwards she notices a straight line going towards her college. Maybe that one victim looking eerily similar to her wasn't a coincidence after all. She and John think that the animatronics are digging holes for themselves during daytime and only come out at night. I'd say that probably adds up. Charlie then takes Jessica and John and they all go to the presumed location of where the animatronics would be heading towards next, if they're actually planning to go to her college. Charlie then finds a trail leading up to some gravel and behold! Weird Freddy. Charlie then tells the other two to go call Clay, and after he comes, he tells them that he'll need to evacuate the people in the area for when dusk comes. Jessica then hears a strange sound coming from the hole, and as she looks at Freddy, she notices he's starting to morph into— Never mind, Clay took them into his car. After they escort the local people away, they stand nearby waiting for the animatronics to come. In the car, Charlie starts taking a closer look at the disc. She explains that it emits some form of sound that confuses the brain and makes it fill up the gaps on how the animatronics should look. It was originally intended to make the weird animatronics look appealing to kids, and why it looks creepy to Charlie and the others is because they all know what the animatronics are truly capable of. They've seen the horrors that the animatronics are capable of committing. Oh, they're asleep. Clay then goes to the graves and Charlie quickly follows after she wakes up. And who would have guessed they're not there anymore? They then hear a scream and Charlie sees a shadow in the forest and decides to go run towards it. And she's lost. And there's a wolf animatronic near her. I originally wanted to make a furry joke here, but I'm pretty sure you could consider all the animatronics as furries if you think about it. Is Afton a furry? The animatronic then drops something out of its torso and Clay manages to find Charlie. They then take a closer look and notice what it dropped was another victim. And that she's still alive, just barely. Back at the college, John tells Charlie that Clay is looking for her and that he has a plan and tells her where the animatronics will go next. She then goes back to her dorm and vents to her plushie about how she's confused because the sound of the disc makes John nauseous, but to her it just plays a melody. That's unimportant and totally doesn't foreshadow a major part of the story, by the way. Charlie then thinks back on how she felt at her old house when she first found the weird animatronics and suddenly decides that she wants to be a hero. So as any hero, she's gonna sacrifice herself by going to the place Clay mentioned. She finds a place, goes inside, lays on a bed, and awaits her doom. Meanwhile, John is tweaking out because apparently they were supposed to have another date. He then gets a bad feeling and calls Clay while in the meantime Charlie is getting swallowed up by weird Freddy. John and Clay eventually get to the place a bit too late, and when they get back, they try to think of where the animatronics could have gone to. Jessica then comes up with a brilliant plan to ask the original cast of animatronics from the first book, which Clay had stashed in his basement. Maybe this is why your wife doesn't like you, Clay. John then tries to explain to the animatronics all of the events that happened, but when he mentions Afton, they start tweaking and run out of the basement. John and the others then start following them. Back to Charlie, she wakes up and she's still stuck in the animatronic. And she hits her head and falls unconscious again. Really entertaining stuff right here. Back to John and the others, they eventually lose the original cast but see a weird Freddy silhouette that John thinks, and I quote, "I don't know what it is, but I think it wants us to follow." Look guys, I'm actually quoting lines now. The video's budget is improving. I'm so proud of myself. But anyway, Charlie is being buried alive. She eventually manages to open the torso and climb out, and as she looks at her surroundings, dread envelops her. She's back at Freddy's. Oh, what? It's not Freddy's? Then what is it? Fuck you mean you don't know? Charlie starts exploring and she finds a lot of untouched arcade games until she gets interrupted by a voice.
Hello?
Was that the battery stealer? She starts looking some more and eventually finds a waterfall that leads inside a cave. And as she steps inside the cave, she notices some machinery that supposedly runs the waterfall.
Hello?
If that voice is actually Balloon Boy, he needs to go get a job. Job. Fuck! Job! Okay, editing errors, you think you're funny, huh? Charlie goes into another room and actually finds Balloon Boy and has the reaction most of us would have after seeing him. The floor starts breaking under her though and everything turns weird and things pop out and random children start harassing her and I genuinely can't tell what is happening. The whole place is just distorting and Charlie is losing her sanity even more. She eventually makes a run for a small room next to the stage to escape the children, and inside she finds weird Freddy. But that can't be right. How would he have managed to get in here? Oh, he grabbed her leg. She manages to escape, and as she's running, severely disoriented, she hears a voice calling her name and runs towards it. And guess what? The voice was John! Clay and Jessica are also here! Charlie is safe now! You know where this is going. The children start harassing Jessica, but she realizes that the disorienting sound is coming from the lights and tells Clay to shoot them. And as the illusion goes away, they realize the children are all Balloon Boy. Every single one of them. Just put me in a spring lock suit at this point. Weird Freddy then comes out of the storage room and gets shot by Clay. Then the wolf animatronic shows up and Charlie starts screaming at them asking why they brought her here. A voice then actually responds pretty much telling her they don't care about her and that he is the one that brought her here. And who would have guessed the voice is actually William Afton. We don't call him that anymore though cause he begins to have an evil villain dialogue saying how he is now Springtrap. Insert dramatic sound wait, was I supposed to read that? Either way, he starts going on about how he controls the animatronics now and starts thanking Charlie for releasing him back at the start, even though he would have been released by the other animatronics eventually. He then gets really close to Charlie, saying that he needs something from her, but gets shot by Clay, and they all start running away as the wolf animatronic chases them. They eventually get back to the waterfall, and Clay throws some gasoline before lighting up a match and making a die in a fire reference of the weird animatronics. Springtrap, seeing that fire, probably gets visions of his demise in FNAF 6 that has yet to come and runs back inside the cave while Charlie goes after him, seeking answers. Charlie then starts having a fist fight with Springtrap while the animatronics that were supposedly on fire survived. And in the last moments when Clay had no bullets left and all hope seemed lost, the old gang came back and started fighting the weird animatronics. With the power of friendship! Back at Charlie, she managed to stab Springtrap with a spike and she furiously asks him why he took Sammy. And he replies with the coldest line in all of fiction.
I didn't take him, I took you.
Boom! Didn't that give you goosebumps? No? Okay, whatever. John and the others manage to find Charlie and Springtrap escapes through some random trapdoor, cause why not? And as the place collapses, they eventually manage to get outside, and Charlie realizes that this whole place has been in the room where she first found the weird animatronics for the first time, in her dad's house. Charlie then feels a strong pull towards the wall, and as she touches it, the illusion breaks and she sees a door, which is the same door she's been drawing all this time in class. As she gets closer, she hears a heartbeat. John then finally manages to convince her to leave before the place collapses, and she agrees. But you know, we can never have a nice thing in this world. So weird Freddy pulls up from God knows where and drags Charlie into its stomach. Charlie's hand is sticking out of its stomach and she keeps moving it to let the others know she's still alive. And as John is hitting the weird Freddy trying to free Charlie, a sudden click echoes throughout the room. And Charlie's hand stops moving as blood leaks from the costume. Cops arrive at the scene, and as they drag John out while he's kicking and screaming, he notices a faint figure holding Charlie's hand, kneeling. But before he can do anything, the house collapses. A bit later, John, Jessica, Marla, and some random guy all sit there just mourning Charlie's loss. That's not Charlie. Well everyone, hope you enjoyed. Sorry it took a while to get this one out. School is taking up a lot of my time, but I'm also procrastinating, so it's like... it's a really weird combination. But if you want to see more videos like these, you should subscribe. And I'll probably explain the fourth closet next. And as always, stay safe and stay silly.